Why, hello and welcome everybody. It is Pohx again. So I want to go ahead and keep you guys a little bit of updated. Like I said, I was going to do kind of like with these like daily, bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever the fuck you want to call them, video updates of my time in Path of Exile. Since, you know, this is an action role-playing game, and there's only so much content I can put out of like, hey guys, I'm playing a new build, day 3. Hey guys, I'm playing a new build, day 4. Hey guys, I'm playing a new build. So rather than, you know, killing myself, I'd rather just do some daily updates and tell you guys what's been going on. I also do apologize, I've been progressing extremely slow in this league. Moving has been a bit tiresome. You know, being an adult just fucking feels weird. I'm not used to it yet, even though I'm 24. I know, I just like to play video games and be a lurker, and it doesn't work anymore. Anyway, though, let's drop the bullshit. So, the current character we're playing on now is level 88, and it's going to be the future Righteous Fire character you've seen in the previous videos, which is my low-life Righteous Fire, which is designed for Shaper and pretty much just not fucking dying. In this patch, we do get a huge Righteous Fire buff because they changed the way AoE works, which buffs Righteous Fire by like 35 to 40% increased AoE. Furthermore, Baby Dick Conk is no longer Baby Dick Conk, and we save 2 points on the tree. The problem with it is energy from withins are like 100 chaos each, but we'll talk about that later. So currently what I'm doing is I have set up my Atlas, specifically like last league, to generate shaped strands, shaped shores, and shaped mesas. Now, if you are unaware of how that works and how Atlas shaping and manipulation works, you can go into my stream at twitch.tv/Pohx. I'll probably put it in the description as well. And I've got a 3-part video guide. I'm probably going to release a new one compiling all of it, but I've got a 3-part video guide pretty much going over everything with the Atlas and how it works. So, this specific character that you see right now is using a Solaris Lorca and is getting bullied out of a breach. Normally I don't take any damage, but this was crit multi and like everything crit me. So he is currently running Tri-Purity, Haste Generosity, and I'm also running Wrath Generosity for the person in my party. So I can still basically double as a support, not nearly as strong as a Necromancer or a dedicated support. Also, Rallying Cry is used as a damage increase, and because we're a Guardian, that also mimics as a mini Vol Haste because it gives 15% attack speed, movement speed, and cast speed. So it's a pretty decent support character. Furthermore, this character also is kind of like a Mana Guardian. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what that is. If you notice, I have 3.5k mana rather than normally like 800 like most builds. And what this means is that whenever I reserve mana as a flat amount, it basically generates a discipline aura based off that amount. So if you were to stand by my character, you'll get about 4k ES, maybe 2.5 to 4k depending on how heavily you're invested into ES nodes, which makes this character incredibly defensive. Not to mention the way Guardian works. You give up 1% physical mitigation per aura that you're granting your allies, and on top of that, you get 0.2% life regen, which to most people doesn't matter because they're Volpacked, but to me it matters a lot because it's sustained as a support. So that's pretty much the character that we're playing right now, and like I said, it will be moved on to a low-life Righteous Fire character after. The 3 required items you pretty much really want to have, in my opinion, would be a 400 plus ES shield, crafted with reduced damage taken over time. I believe it's the Presence of Chayula, which is the low-life amulet, which we already have, and then a Shavs. Now, the reason why you want these items is because the more maximum energy shield your character has, the more damage you deal with Righteous Fire. All of your Righteous Fire damage scales off of your maximum ES. So you could pick up a 10% damage node, or you could pick up an 8% ES node, for example, right? So the more defensively built you are, the stronger your character actually becomes. And this is really cool because, I mean, well, actually, it's not just cool, but it's really important because when you're playing Righteous Fire, you can't leech. You have only sustain, and the only way to get your sustain is essentially through, like, fucking not getting wrecked, right? So you have to make sure your sustain really outweighs the damage that you're taking, or else your character's gonna die and then rip a couple hundred chaos, and you don't want that to happen. So, with this strategy that we were doing, I was also running, we were running pretty much like Nemesis, Breach, and then the third one was Beyond. Now, Breach you almost always want for map return. Beyond is really good for XP. Parandis is good for money. Domination is good overall as well. And these were the League Stones that you can see here. I don't know if I said Nemesis. Nemesis is pretty okay as well. Now, the way this character works, just to show you guys simply, is I'm running Purity of Lightning along with Purity of Ice with Purity of Fire. So that's Tri-Purity. I'm also running Wrath and this is for my party member, which this can be swapped up. You can change pretty much whatever you want on a support. Now, I'm also running, I don't even remember, Clarity, and we also have Haste, and one more aura, which I believe is Discipline. So, there we go. Now, the reason, or I guess the way this character works is if you look at it, it actually looks quite a lot like the Righteous Fire character. The only thing is I need to pull out from here and connect through right here. So all of these jewels you see that are currently allocated on the tree are simply Healthy Minds. All Healthy Mind does is it takes the life nodes and doubles them and turns them into mana nodes. So what that does is that scales our maximum mana, and this is important because these jewels that we're allocating, we don't even need to respec, because when we play Low Life Righteous Fire, ideally these will all be swapped with other jewels. So this would be a Energy from Within, this would be an Energy from Within, this would be an Energy from Within, this would be an Energy from Within, and this would be a Conqueror's Potency, and I'll pretty much respec this because Energy from Within is ridiculously expensive. So the tree actually looks so similar to a Righteous Fire character, and I really don't have to do much respecking. You know, maybe drop out of Inspiration plus Mind Over Matter and adjust this little side here, and then pick up some core nodes. So that's really cool in itself. You could also play like a summoner. I was playing a summoner previously. The thing is I really wanted to play a dedicated zombie summoner, and I just felt, I don't know if it was the AI, but they just weren't doing what I wanted them to do. I've played Summon Raging Spirits in the past, a little bit, nothing crazy, maybe like level 70, and it felt so much smoother than zombies. I played Animate Weapon a couple times, that's like 10 times quicker than zombies. I've even tried with like super minion speed, and I think it's just the AI. The thing about, I feel, when you play with minions in games, is like, minions have like an IQ, right? So say your IQ is, I don't even fucking know, 100. And say a retard's IQ, no offense to the retards, is like 20. Well, it would take 5 zombies to match up 20. The problem is when you use the Montragals, it cuts their IQ in half, but makes them bigger. The thing is bigger isn't smarter. Just because your zombie does double the damage, doesn't mean it's actually hitting the target. So I felt that it just spreads you too thin, and I really was not enjoying it. Then people said, oh, well, why don't you try Spectres? And I'm like, oh, I can do Spectres. I want to do Evangelists, which I tried before. Evangelists just don't have the AoE, or again, the brains, and they're also really slow. So I could have done another method, which was using the ribbons, which are the Fireball ribbons. The problem with the Fireball ribbons is I don't want to play them because that's what everybody was doing in the first place. So I kind of just said, fuck it, I'm just going to go support. I've never done a support, and I'm curious to know how it works. Overall, it's really fun. Not really. I mean, it's not boring or anything. You're pretty much doing exactly what a Righteous Fire character does. You just don't do any damage. And so it's not that bad. Gear was pretty easy to gear towards. I personally was running on capped Chaos Resist before. I didn't use a Solaris Lorica until about level 86, and that's because it was just so sketchy. Even with capped Chaos Resist, my health would like flicker like this because I'm Zealot's Oath, so I would just touch a zombie cloud and my health would just like drop. So I've got a Presence of Chayula, and just to go over a little bit of the items my support is using. Ephemeral Edge, we're going to use for Righteous Fire. It gives maximum energy shield, very good defensive item. Presence of Chayula, obvious why we use it. I'm using just a simple, really shit ring with Dex. I'm using a Void Eye because it's worth like an Alchemy Orb and gives basically +5 to Discipline, very good for my party. I'm using a Baited Breath, which I actually I don't even know how much it's worth, but it gives insane amounts of ES. Simple Gloves with just energy shield. Sintrek Boots I picked up for 1 Chaos, they're good. Give movement speed, good ES, dexterity, and intelligence, not bad at all. My shield as a Prism Guardian, literally worth nothing. Helmet, Broken Crown, literally worth nothing. In fact, I don't even need this anymore, but I don't feel like changing my gear. And a Solaris Lorica, guess what? It's worth nothing. So this character is super easy, super budget, except it doesn't do any damage unless you want it to go summons. In terms of flasks, you just want everything defensive, and if you want to see my defensive stats, we're 88 lightning, or 88 cold, 89 lightning, and just 80 fire, which makes our character extremely defensive as well. We're also running 1,000 energy shield regen per second. With a stone golem, it's 1,100, so, you know, we regen almost 10% of our ES per second, actually about 10% of our ES per second. And the last ascendancy note to pick up on our character would be Time of Need, which you'll see here for Righteous Fire, which basically just makes us even more fucking defensive, which just gives us 30% of our maximum life regeneration over 1 second. So that's pretty much the character and what we're going to be doing with it. We should be going Righteous Fire here soon. Hopefully, by the end of tomorrow, I've got 60 Chaos, 2 Exalts, a bunch of Regals. I'm doing Chaos Recipe because fuck Chaos Recipe, I like it. I don't know why, it just makes me happy. The Shaped Strand pool is building up, which is very nice because essentially as long as we don't run out of Shaped Strands, I'll keep making money. And I don't think I'm running out anytime soon. And while I'm making money, I'm getting XP, so it's just overall really great. Now, to go over a quick explanation of the Atlas and show you guys how it works, I do want to remind you guys as well that you can just go into my stream right here and type !Atlas, and it will pop up the 3-part video guide located right here. I'll see if I can put this in the description. Remember, you can just go to twitch.tv/Pohx. All the commands are located here at the Nightbot. So, the ideal goal for this is I'm going to make it really simple. Tier 1 to 9, alright? So tiers 1 through 9, you want to complete everything on the Atlas. The reason why is you get this little bonus here, which says 75% chance for maps to drop 1 tier higher. So every time you complete a map, it goes up by 1%. Alright? Overall, you always want to get maps above. That's very good. Once you get to tier 10, now, you don't have to do it. You can start at tier 11 if you choose to. I'm starting at tier 10 because it's beginning in the league. So once you get to tier 10, you only want to have 1 map. Now, uniques do not count towards this. You can do every unique map on the Atlas. It's totally fine. So, Shaped Mesa is the map that I chose. You could choose any tier 5 map, and you could shape it up. The reason why I chose Mesa is because it's basically a circle, and then you walk up, and it's another circle, and then it's oak, and it's very simple. Because it's a shaped map, it is not connected to any tier 11 maps, because it was originally a shitty map. So, Racecourse, Quarry, Canyon, Shitpool, and Acid Lakes. Meaning, if you were to run this map, the only way that you can get another map tier, like a tier 11, is if you have a tier 11 map unlocked, right? Because when you run a map and you kill a monster, and you have a chance of getting a map, if it's a white mob, it can drop the same tier. However, we have a 75% chance for it to +1. If it's a boss, it can be +2. But it's not connected to anything, so how do we get a map drop? Well, we have 1 map unlocked, which is a Shaped Strand. Meaning, whenever it decides to roll +1 on a Mesa, it automatically becomes a Strand. There is not any other map it can become, unless you do not do the Shaped map strats. So let's use another example. Say we pick a tier 10 map. What's a great tier 10 map layout? We've got Terrace, Colonnade, Arsenal, Malformation, Underground River. Okay, Underground River is a great example of a map, okay? So Underground River is essentially a straight line. So let's use Underground River as an example. If we only had Underground River unlocked as a tier 10, here's why it's a problem. Underground River is adjacent to Quay, or Key. Because it's adjacent to Key, this map will now roll against itself on a tier 10 map. So instead of just getting Underground Rivers back, I also can get a Key map, which is a T10. I believe it's connected to a T11 down here, which means that it even is now rolling against my Shaped Strand because it's adjacent. Even though you have not completed it and you haven't even ran it, because it is an adjacent map, it can drop. That is why shaped maps are so important. Because shaped maps are only connected to low tier maps, which don't have any effect because, again, the map was shaped. So now let's take it one step further. When you get to tier 11 maps, right, it's important to note that if you want to if you want to increase your map drop rate for that tier, you would not have any maps completed of the next tier. So if we look at my tier 12s, I only have nothing on it. The reason why I have nothing on it is because if I were to get a T12 map and it drops and there's nothing on the Atlas, it will -1 and become a Strand. This has been proven, it's been confirmed. I hit level 100 using this method. I can assure you that it works. I don't know if it works anything past +1. I don't know if, for example, you get a T13 map and it -2. I can't confirm any of that. So, by that being said, the only way for me to get tier 13 maps in my current setup is if the boss can drop it, because a boss can drop a +2. So that can net me my shore maps. If you wanted to get more shore maps instead of strands, then what you could do instead is shape a T12 map, right? Because now that you have T12 maps, you can get T13s out of your T12 much more commonly. Does that make sense? Again, if you want additional information, you should check out my Atlas videos because they do cover it. That's pretty much going to be it for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, if you guys have any questions, feel free to answer in the comments below or check out the stream as well. Anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Hope you boys enjoyed yourself. Remember, if you want to see the characters I have in this league, just pop into my stream, type !profile, and my profile will always pop up where you can literally see every single one of my characters I've ever created. Now, just know, though, that, for example, if you were to look at a previous build, it may not have all the gear anymore because it may be like a year old. But all my current characters in the league will be updated. So my Fire Trapper is on here as well. My old Poison Trapper is on here. The current character, you can see all of his gear, and you can even see his passive tree. Alright? Hope you guys had a wonderful time. Hope you boys enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.